Good evening. My name is Tom Courbat, and I'm pleased to be your final speaker.
So are we.
And I will try to keep this to a couple minutes. I'm from Marietta in Riverside County, and I was instrumental in forming the first election observer panel in Riverside County in May of 2006. I've served on every EOP election observer panel in Riverside since then. I've been a poll worker, I've been an inspector, and I'm also the former Riverside County finance director. I have about 25 years of service in LA County, Shasta, and Riverside. I have 2 points that I want to make. But just before that, I want to mention, in the New York Times a couple of days ago, and I'll provide you with this if you don't have the article, was an opinion piece by the editorial board, a new role for defense contractors, counting votes. United Technologies, one of the nation's leading defense contractors, has now placed an unsolicited $3 billion bid to take over Diebold. I will provide this to you at the end. And there were a number of comments that people made on the blog, and one of them was from Mr. Weir, who indicated that, oh, we have to have electronic voting machines for the handicapped. HAVA does not, I repeat, does not require electronic voting machines, but the voting machine companies will tell you they do, and so will the registrars of voters. That's not true. One comment that was written in, a colleague of mine cynically stated that whenever an election does not run smoothly, the officials have a hierarchy of blame. First, the voter. Second, the poll worker. And third is an out-of-the-ordinary event with this particular election, as in we could never have anticipated this. Never the elections official, and never the machines. But this is a new one. It's that having paper, which we have successfully used for over 100 years, is the problem. This was one of the blog comments on the New York Times. I've got 2 points I want to make. Number one, observers, grassroots, boots on the ground citizens observers, often referred to as election integrity advocates, are not listed on your witness list today. We are the only individuals who have taken the time to document the electoral process in the various counties from a voter observer point of view. The findings of our efforts should give you pause to consider the consequences of what I am about to show you. This is not anecdotal. This is photographic evidence. And I urge you to maintain contact with the election integrity community and include us as witnesses and not just last-minute speakers in any future hearings that you may hold. I'll show you these photographs in a moment. The second point I want to make is that enforcement of election law violations is essentially non-existent in this state. I don't believe there's been a prosecution or a significant administrative action taken against any ROV for violations, which I'm about to show you, of elections or government codes at all, with the exception of former Monterey County ROV Tony Anchundo, who pleaded no contest to 43 counts, including forgery, embezzlement, and grand theft in July of 2006. What good is it to have laws on the books requiring meaningful observation and security of the voting machines if after documentation, like you will see in a minute, is ignored? The Secretary of State has only 2 positions of attorneys to deal with all legal issues in the electoral system in a state of 37 million people. 2 legal positions and 1 is vacant. Does that sound right to you? I want to show you these photos now. This first photo is a picture of the yellow button on the back of the Sequoia voting machines. You want to take all of them? Thanks. I went on Lou Dobbs today at just a couple days before the November '06 election, and I stated that if you push this button, you can vote repeatedly, over and over and over again, until you are physically restrained from voting. What did the county of Riverside do? They put a plastic 3-cent cover on it, but the cover, as you can see, is open. It's not, they never sealed it, so it's useless. Photo number 2 shows a voting machine and election equipment left unlocked in the public area days before the election.
Where did this take place? Where did
that was in Riverside County at a church, and it was there for 7 days before the election. That blue box was just sitting there with a ball or a balloon on top of the other thing. That's the kind of security that we have. I've been documenting this for 3 years. Photo number 3 is shot, and this is where it really comes in bad. Photos 3, 4, and 5. Shot from the community room, which is where they count the ballots in public. And it shows a doorway to what is called the ballot storage area. But yes, that's it. That one right there is the main, that's the main ballot counting area. But in the back there, you'll see there's a door, and as you go through that door in the back, the ballots are stored, but then there's another door. And that's the back room, and that's where secret vote counting was taking place in Riverside County on February 8th, 2008. Wow. On that same date, I put my foot inside of, and I'm on the election observer panel, I put my foot inside of that door, and I was thrown out and ejected from the election observer panel because they didn't want me documenting the fact that they were illegally counting votes outside of public view. These are actual photos. This is not anecdotal. The last two photos, and this is the end of my presentation, the last two photos are in black and white, and they show how the county of Riverside treats ballot memory cards. This is the back of a pickup truck, an open bed pickup truck in which they threw all the ballot cartridges in there and drove them off into the night. And there's one other picture there in black and white. Huh? There's one other picture there in black and white, and it shows that Mr. Jacobs was kind enough to shoot both of these last two. Shows 7 or 8 memory cards sitting on the tailgate. As they look around and try to find the other 2 or 3 missing memory cards. I mean, it's kind of grainy, but yeah, I can send you.
These are all in Riverside County?
This is all in Riverside County, the second worst place to vote in the United States. So in closing, please give strong consideration to 2 things. Number 1, funding, I know this is not going anymore, funding enforcement positions in the Secretary of State's office so that these transgressions can be investigated and appropriate action taken. And please include election integrity community in your future deliberations. We are the eyes and ears and boots on the ground that provide direct evidence of what is going on in the trenches. And we do this on our own without compensation for the protection of our democracy. I thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today.
Thank you, Mr. Courbat. We want to thank you and all the witnesses who shared testimony with us this afternoon.